Hey guys, NinjaGuyVR here, and welcome to our VR Game of the Year Awards in collaboration with the Elite Institute. For those who don't know, the Elite Institute is a website containing many VR reviews and is updated quite frequently. They also recently created a YouTube channel containing amazing content. I'll leave a link to their socials in my description so you can have a look. This is the first time that I make a video like this, and I'm gonna reveal all of my categories in this one big video, while the Elite Institute has revealed their categories on a daily basis leading up to today, December 30th, where we're gonna reveal our Game of the Year. So let's get this started. The Best Multiplayer Awards goes to Brazen Blaze. This is a game that I got really addicted to for a while. The learning curve is very difficult, but when it clicks, man, it gets really fun. If you're a fan of Super Smash Bros., you'll feel right at home here because the mechanics kind of feel the same. Every hero has their own abilities and you'll find one that fits your playstyle. And there's a reason to fight over and over because they keep adding Season Pass to unlock new cosmetics and other things for bragging rights. The game keeps getting constant updates with new additional characters and then some tweaks and then some bug fixes and additional modes, so there's always a reason to be coming back. And this is why it's my multiplayer game of the year. The arcade style really fits well with me. The Elite Institute Best Multiplayer Award goes to Mannequin. The Best Art Style Award goes to Underworld Overseer. I'm a sucker for cel-shaded graphics, but it doesn't mean that if your game is cel-shaded that I'm gonna like it. It still depends on the art style and other little factors. But Underworld Overseer really nailed it, and what they've presented here is just an eye candy for me. The color palette that they've used really resonates with me, and the character design is really good. Not only that, but the game is also exceptional because it is a spiritual successor of Dungeon Keeper, and the strategy aspect of it is just really fun and addicting. Definitely a game that I want to finish at some point because it's one of the best VR strategy games that I've played. The Elite Institute Best Art Style Award goes to Escaping Wonderland. The Best Music Award goes to Metal Hellsinger VR. Like I said in my review, nobody in their right mind would say anything bad about this soundtrack unless you're not into metal. All the songs are collaboration from epic singers from bands such as Trivium, Lamb of God, and System of a Down. And you know, the soundtrack is not just slapped on the video game. The way it works is that you get a score multiplier, and when you hit 16 times, the vocal kicks in, so you really want to get to that score for some epic fighting music. Metal Hellsinger VR is a game like Doom, but with rhythm-based combat. It's a game that I highly encourage metal fans to try. The Elite Institute Best Music Award goes to Thrasher. The biggest surprise award goes to Triangle Strategy VR. The reason why this was such a big surprise for me is because this is the first game that Square Enix ports in VR, and Square Enix is one of my favorite company out there. So the fact that they're dipping their toe into VR means that there's the potential of more games being ported, and maybe we'll get an original game at some point. The port of Triangle Strategy was really well made, and they even offer a mixed reality mode. The game was very well received, and that makes me happy. And it was very impressive that they could port that on the standalone headset. The game is very well worth it for its price because it is a very long game. The Elite Institute Biggest Surprise Awards goes to Starship Troopers Continuum. The Most Immersive Award goes to Batman Arkham Shadow. This game really works well in VR, and the thing that stood out the most is the combat. The way it works is that it gives you directive of what you have to do to punch the enemy, but there is a little bit of freedom in it because you can counter enemies or stun them and things like that. The game doesn't feel like a side Arkham game, it really feels like a full game in the series. The story is about the Rat King causing mayhem in the city, and you have to put an end to it. The game never gets boring because other than the combat, you also have Predator sequence where you have to kill your enemies silently, and there's also detective moment and other things like that. This is one of the biggest budget game of the year and you shouldn't miss out. The Elite Institute Most Immersive Award goes to Dig VR. The Most Unique Award goes to Kid Pilot. This is a cool unique idea that was never done in VR before. Your controller basically transforms into a toy plane and you have to control it like that. And the very cool thing is that every level in the game is very different. You start the game in a very relaxing environment where you have to go into circles which makes some music. And then you're transported into a boss fight and then some racing. There's a roguelike level and there's even an open world that makes you do tasks in any order that you want to. It's a very short game, but the uniqueness of it made it very fresh. The Elite Institute Most Unique Award goes to Silent Slayer. The Best Indie Award goes to Max Mustard. It's funny because when you think VR, you think first-person view, but that's not the case with Max Mustard. This is an action platformer, and honestly, I don't feel like we have enough of those in VR. And it didn't just receive the Best Indie Game Award for its platforming. The level design is amazing, and the aesthetic and cuteness of the game makes it very good. You'll almost never see a level that feels the same. They really made a lot of effort to make all of them different. It's a game that I finished in 2 days, and it wouldn't surprise me if I go back to it at some point. I highly recommend it if you're into platformers because it really stands out even with the flat screen games. The Elite Institute Best Indie Award goes to Hide the Corpse. The best AAA title award goes to Metro Awakening. This is actually the best VR game I've personally played so far. The reason is because this is a story-focused game and this is the type of game that I enjoy. Not only that, but the graphics looks amazing in the standalone headset. And the mechanics are super immersive, the way you have to reload your gun or the way you have to look at your bullets, and even how you have to crank your battery to recharge your light or open an electric door. The adventure that you go through is super epic and I just couldn't put the controllers down. I had an awesome time with it. My horror VR legs are not the best yet, but the game was built in such a way that I could just keep going. The Elite Institute Best AAA Title Award goes to Skydance Behemoth. Alright guys, this is it. But before we talk about the Game of the Year, we would like to talk about some honorable mention titles that could have made the list, but we didn't have enough categories to fit them in. So here we go. The first one I want to mention is Frenzies. It was very tight between that one and Brazen Blaze, but because Frenzies is in early access and doesn't offer as much as Brazen Blaze, it had to be put in the back, but it's as enjoyable as Brazen Blaze in my opinion. The two other titles I want to talk about are Medieval Dynasty and Underdogs. These were very tight for the best indie title because Max Mustard, Medieval Dynasty, and Underdogs really stood out to me. I feel like they're some of the best indie titles that released this year. Man, I wish I had more time to play video games because there's a lot of games that I'm sure would have made the list, but I just never had a chance to play them. I finished 45 games this year, but some that I wish that I had the time to finish was Vendetta Forever and Escaping Wonderland. But they will have to wait for next year and I'll definitely give my thoughts on them when I can. The Elite Institute's honorable mentions are Max Mustard, Batman Arkham Shadow, and House of Da Vinci. And our Best Game of the Year award goes to Metro Awakening. It might have been a little obvious with what I've just said about the game, and if you've watched my review, you very well know that this is my Game of the Year. I don't want to repeat myself too much, but the game just nailed everything that I enjoy about a video game. I didn't even play any other games in the series, but the game acts as a very good standalone game. The Elite Institute and I talked about it, and we believe that the game deserves many rewards, and we'll be talking about this game for a long time. Thanks for watching guys, and I hope that you enjoyed our Game of the Year awards. I'm really looking forward to see what 2025 has to offer for us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my VR content, and let me know in the comments if this is something that you'd like to see me do on a yearly basis. Bye everyone!